Almost a yes. Personal space bubbles didn't exist that night under the whiskey. I looked into your eyes and almost touched my crinkled nose to yours. What if I kissed him right now? I continued to stare into your eyes mere inches away from mine. I crinkled my nose again and glanced at your lips. How I wondered if you would be gentle, if your lips soft. I almost gave in to the temptation. Whispers filled the air, whisked by passersby. Across the table were calls of my name from familiar voices to keep me from doing something we can't come back from. I thought I saw you glimpse at my red lips and grit your teeth, fighting yourself to give in to me. But I knew in my heart, if it was supposed to happen, I did not want it to happen like this. Damn whiskey. Tied to lyrics from Jimmy from the musical Thoroughly Modern Millie, composed by Janine Tesori, lyrics by Dick Scanlon. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Sweet Madness podcast, everybody. That was a poem from my poetry collection, Thoughts While...
That was aggressive diction right there.
Thoughts While Singing. And the cool thing about Thoughts While Singing is that every poem is tied to a lyric or a sound or lack of sound from a song. And there's a playlist that goes along with this book. That was our poem tidbit for today. And I am here with a special guest. All of the guests on the Sweet Madness podcast are very special. And this is a guest who is a singer, a songwriter, a teacher, public speaker, and recovery coach from Long Island, New York. His debut album, Exhale, was released in April of 2024, and he's currently working on a follow-up, which is set to be released by the end of this year. When this podcast airs, I believe that is going to be soon-ish. He enjoys long walks on the beach, prefers red wine over white, and is unusually gifted at Boggle. Please welcome Wilson Valley.
Woo!
A.K.A.
Chris Rogers.
Yes, Chris Rogers is here with me. Wilson Valley / Chris Rogers. Chris Rogers / Wilson Valley is here. And we're going to talk about some stuff. So, Chris.
Yes.
What does Sweet Madness mean to you?
Oh, boy. Well, the only thing that's on my mind now is whiskey. Well, not that it's the only thing on my mind, but since you mentioned whiskey in your poem, I legitimately do blame you for like me kind of getting back on like the whiskey during a night out train.
Really?
Legitimately. Like I would be like, I'm not like, you know, like an alcohol connoisseur, which is probably a good thing, but I just started ordering like neat whiskeys from like ever since like we like met. And so I thank you for having that positive influence on me.
You are very welcome. I can't take the full credit. I have to give credit to my friend Jim Haynes, who is a beer / IPA / lager / whiskey connoisseur.
He's that dude.
He is that dude. Actually, Jim just gifted me a bottle of some new whiskey that he recommended for me, and it's sitting in my apartment, and I'm waiting for the perfect occasion to open it.
Okay.
I just don't know when that is. But thank you, Jim. Love you. We are working on Hamlet together, so that's going to be really fun.
The Scottish play.
Yes. Come see it with City 8 Productions in November.
So Sweet Madness.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So Sweet Madness, well, as somebody who is a working musician and someone who, you know, has made his living as a creative person, it's about balancing that with relationships. Sometimes that can be rather tough. Sometimes that can be rather dicey.
Yeah. That can be rather dicey because being a musician, your schedule is all over the place, right?
There was this meme where maybe you've seen it, it's just like, you know, like me, like in my casket, like leaving, and I'm just like, sorry, I have rehearsal.
Well, us theater folk know how that feels. Yes, absolutely. So how has music been a part of your life?
Oh gosh. Well, to give you an idea, I mean, it really kind of is in my blood, like ever since I was a kid. You know, my parents met doing a community theater production of Grease. Like, my dad was Danny Zuko, my mom was Sandy, and that's how they met. So I kind of came out of the womb kind of singing and dancing. It's like I vividly remember, like, there were moments where, like, my parents would, like, sit me down and, like, Chris, this is what music is. And not the least of which was, I think I might have told you this before, but it was the 10th anniversary concert of Les Mis. And specifically the confrontation between Javert and Valjean. Like, Valjean, at last we see each other play.
Yeah.
And anytime I hear that particular version, I have the taste of like barbecue flavored like Wise potato chips in my mouth. It resonated with me.
Wow.
That it's crazy. So like that. So very
Talk
much
about sense memory.
dude, you have no idea.
Yeah.
So having that sort of like background, it's in my blood, right? But really started like getting into writing songs and playing in bands and stuff when I was probably like in like middle school, high school, stuff like that, and have been like gigging professionally for like the better part of like a decade and change, you know. So I've been at this for a minute.
You've been at this for a minute, and your core people have been very supportive.
I'd say so for sure.
Yeah. That's great. And then, like, where does the relationship end of the Sweet Madness come in?
Well, just in the name of, you know, transparency and vulnerability, speaking more so in a romantic relationship type of situation.
Okay.
Yeah, that type of relationship where, you know, given, you know, my level of commitment, given my level of, you know, just my sheer number of commitments, you know, because, you know, when you're a working musician, you're likely not just working with one wedding company or one, you know, bands or whatever. You know, it's a bit of a cliche, but it's not just a job. It truly is a lifestyle. And for those that aren't necessarily in that field, it can be rather hard to kind of like get, you know. But yeah, you know, I mean, I think that definitely is a commonality with like, you know, very like creative people and very not just creative but creatively involved people, whether it's in their local scene or whether it's in their own art, you know, and their own work. I mean, you know, I'm a songwriter, I'm a performer, I'm a writer. There's I have my finger in a lot of different pies. And some people talk about like work-life balance.
Yep.
You know, I guess for people in a creative field, it's like art-life balance.
Yes.
So I'd be very curious to kind of hear, you know, some of your feelings or perspective on that.
Yeah, I resonate with that a lot. So like as a musician, I always related to wearing hats, right? You wear a lot of different musician hats. So like in my mind, you have this one type of hat, but they're different colors, right? So, but then also you have another hat because you are a recovery coach. So you have that part of your life that, you know, you work for and you work toward. So that's a whole different hat. Me, it's also been tough to like find a person who gets it, you know, really, really hard because my hats are not just, oh, I'm in theater, but so I'm wearing one kind of hat, but underneath that massive hat are little hats that are very different in their structure. There's choreographer, there's director, there's writer, playwright, there's
Get it right.
There, writer is also in there, but that's a completely different hat. That's not under the theater hat. I'm getting very specific here. I wear a lot of them, so I need to keep them separated in my brain. So I understand. So like, there's also the producer hat. There's also the director hat. I don't know if I said that. There's also the performer hat. That's the whole start of my theater career and involvement. Thank you, Grandma, for watching The King and I so many times.
Shout out to Grandma.
Thank you, Grandma Barbs. Rest in peace. So then on top of that, I have like a writer hat. So like I'm a writer for poetry. And then I also am working on like other stuff. I've had short stories published. Now I'm working on a novel or trying to. There's a story there. It's just changing colors every single time I go down to write it.
The story about writing a story.
Exactly. So and my schedule is all over like when I was directing and choreographing, I would work on 5 or 6 different shows at the same time. There was one year where the money was good, but my burnout was not great. So yeah, 2018 was a year, man. And then because of that, my social life in general just took a plunge.
Sure.
It was really like I was only seeing my high school students. I was seeing my dance students because I also taught dance. I also had a dance teacher hat. And
she's multi-hyphenated, folks.
I am. I'm multi-hyphenated. I like to call myself a professional hat wearer.
There you go.
Or a multi-passionate entrepreneur. So yeah, so there's a lot of things. So my social life, I felt like I was plummeting. And the only time I would see my friends if I'd be like, hey, you want to come see the show? And it's like, I haven't hung out with you in the in-between. So now I feel like I'm not doing a good job at being a friend. And then you put like dating on top of that. Ooh. I was in one major relationship where the year I had all of those shows. Oh. And I am a person that gives 100% to, or tries to give 100% to everything that I do or everything that I put my attention toward. But it was getting to a point where the relationship, due to certain circumstances that are very personal, my work, my creative work, which I love to do, was taking a backseat. I was operating at 75, and I hated myself for it.
As a creative or just as a person? As
a creative.
Gotcha.
And I hated myself for it because I was too focused on making sure that he was okay.
Sure.
So, and like it would bleed into my work, which the first thing you're told is like, hey, leave your problems at the door, right? Mm-hmm. It's a safe space for everybody to create. And to do that, the environment has to be very positive or just very aware, like very calm. Mm-hmm. And I'm an anxious person, so it was, and I do not do a good job at hiding my heart. I do not do a good job with that. So it's very much, and doesn't make sense because I act. It doesn't. Like my real self just is like, hi, I'm here. If you think I'm anxious right now, chances are you're probably right. So that's how it was. And it was affecting, then I saw that it started to affect everything.
Sure.
And it was very, very hard for me. And then just after that, you know, with my own patterns that I've noticed. Didn't really date anyone that got it. And I felt like that was missing because I needed someone to understand because it was getting to the point where it's like, hey, it's me or theater. And I'm like, that is an ultimatum that is making me sacrifice myself if I choose you.
No, I vibe with that. There's a lot that I can relate to. I'm curious. I mean, like, as far as so
I love how you're the one asking me the questions on my podcast.
I'm totally on coach mode, but not but sincerely. I mean, like, as like someone else that I trust, like, gets it. You know, like, how do you go about like, I don't want to say replenishing yourself. All right, let me ask it this way, like. Comparing like what you learned and, you know, the experience you had in 2018 versus 2025, Amanda, like, do you have like, is is there a sense of compromise, a better sense of being able to sort of like compartmentalize your time, your commitments to still be present for people while still being as present as you want to be for your art? Like, is that sort of like, because I feel like just to kind of give some context, yeah, sometimes that feels, and again, just in the name of transparency and just accountability, that's felt like a bit of a tough thing, like a little bit of a wrestling match. Like if I'm not, I can relate, just to, tie with a bow, I can relate to that ultimatum type of thing. And to take it away entirely just is not a possibility. Like this, when it comes to, when you have that sort of passion and when you have that sort of, outlet, particularly if you have dedicated your life to it, it is in fact a non-negotiable. Now, granted, that sense of balance, that's why I'm using the term like art-life balance, because man, it's such a weird thing, man, because as, I would justify it like, oh, like this is like how I continue to make my living. Like I'll play like, 2-3 weddings a month and like that takes care of most of my rent.
Right.
So it's like I need to commit to this. It's like, that's why I'm not around every weekend, and it can feel like a little selfish to expect somebody to understand that in the way that you would hope that they would, ideally, if it were a perfect world. Oh yeah, babe, go on and like gig like 4 weekends out of the month. I'll be here if you need me. And that's not cool to them, because they got their own needs. They have their own, goals and aspirations. And, I don't want to, my partner's not a groupie, and I think in my past, I have sort of like fallen into that pattern. Like, that this is a non-negotiable for me. And there was like this sort of assumption that like they would understand, but having, been through some things and like, lessons learned in relationships, like I can't expect them to, understand that like this is like a part of me. I've done a better job in like communicating that. It's like, I love you, like we're in this thing together, but this is a huge part of not just what I do to make my living, but this is a very big part of, this is how I express like what's actually going on inside. And like everybody has their thing. Maybe it is music, maybe it's something else that has nothing to do with the arts. It's like, I can't, if that makes you so much, like I'm not going to take that away from you.
Yeah.
So I'm going off right now. I'm kind of spiraling. But
you did go on a little bit of a tangent, but that's okay.
With that sort of context intact, I'm curious as to, like, maybe how have you gone about maybe facilitating some of those conversations? Like if you're kind of like faced with that sort of ultimatum type of thing.
I have communicated to people I've dated in the past right from the start that like, hey, like this is my life. Granted, they weren't serious about me, so that didn't matter much. But as far as the one solid relationship that I had with this, I had to be like, hey, listen, like there's something here that we need to have a talk about. And he knew that I was a big theater person, like going in. It was one of those situations where like it was just like, oh, by the way, you're my girlfriend. I'm like, what? Okay, cool. We've been dating for 2 weeks. Awesome. Great. So now I have to like so now
I ain't gonna say nothing.
So now it's like, and we didn't even have like the initial like what does dating mean conversation.
Right.
Like what does it mean to you? What does a relationship mean to you? What's your definition of this?
Yeah.
And we didn't even have that yet, and all of a sudden I'm in a relationship, and it was with someone who has had a lot of personal things going on,
right.
and I couldn't I couldn't find a way to tell him. I tried to find a way to tell him without triggering anything.
Right.
But he did have this idea of like, this is where I'll be. Mm-hmm. This is who I am. Mm-hmm. This is a big part of me. Please do not, make it something that I have to second guess. And it ended up being something I had to second guess. So I had to have a conversation with him like, hey, this is my life. I can't be there I can't pick up he would call me during rehearsals. And after I say like, listen, I can't talk on the phone for like a couple hours. Like I need to teach my high school kids how to put on a production of Hairspray. So
and we can't stop the beat.
And we can't stop the beat. We can't stop it. We have to talk about integration. We have to portray all of these bodily messages and cultural messages in a diverse high school. Like this is what we have to do. And it's a big deal. And Hairspray is my favorite musical for many, many reasons. And the message is so, 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 so important. I almost bumped into the microphone. I don't know where I am right now in terms of relation to the microphone because the light is so bright. And it was just something I had to sit down and be like, something has to change. Mm-hmm. And I'm not asking you to give up who you are. So respectfully, I ask if you not ask me to give up who I am. And it was very much a whirlwind. And, it ended up not being great because he wasn't a person of growth at that time. And if he was, I'm sure it would be fine. But again, without going into too much detail, like
100%.
The personal circumstances really stopped. And then I had to be the one to end it. And it was not pretty.
Right.
And that was the first relationship I was a late bloomer, guys. And my first kiss was when I was 23.
Was it a good kiss?
Yes, it was a wedding singer kiss. Church tongue.
Nice.
Yay, church tongue. And I forgot where I was now because now I'm thinking about my first kiss. I was a late bloomer. In the dating world, and it was my first boyfriend, and it's the first time I actually ever broke up with someone.
Right.
So, like, what scared me the most, or what I was heartbroken about, is that I could break someone else's heart.
Okay.
There's a poem in this Thoughts While Singing about that.
Check it out now. I think what might be handy is to maybe dive into some like practical things. Like we both have had our swings and misses, and maybe we've had some hits along the way. But maybe some practical things like if you are anybody listening, a creative person or somebody who is artistic and very involved with that particular medium, how can you go about achieving the best case scenario as far as that art-life balance is concerned? One of the biggest things that's worked for me is busting out that Google Calendar.
I love calendars.
It's the best.
I have 5.
Sweet. Share a calendar with your significant other so that way you got everything mapped out. There's much less guesswork as far as like what you're up to, what they're up to, and like being able to plan time together. Like there's it's less to kind of like weed through and less to figure out. And if like things like pop up, you can already say like, oh, I already have time with my partner for that particular day.
Yeah.
You block it off. I mean, in many ways, if there's I'm an expert in not that much, but if there's anything that I've learned in my 30 years of life, I think it's that you're a product of your preparation.
Yes.
Like you are what you prepare for. And like being able to kind of like share that, preparation with your partner, I think will not only make communication a ton easier,
right?
But it's like you can still like pursue what you want to pursue, you know, without compromising the quality of the relationship that you wish to have. So anyway, it's a simple tip, but like can be very effective. Google Calendar.
Yeah, I tried that with my family. It didn't work.
Well, all right.
It's just because like we have too many different schedules, and it's like the four of us on one.
Okay.
I love calendars. I love shared calendars. When I was on the board for a theater group, like we lived by our shared calendar. It was great. It's great. I love it. So if whoever my future partner is, I'm gonna ask you out, being like, hey, you want to share a Google Calendar with me?
That's the ultimate test right there. That's the Tinder bio right there. It's like, you know, credit score, we could definitely talk about that. Over 6 feet, you know, maybe.
No. You
No?
don't have to be.
Oh. See? There's hope, gents. There's hope.
When did this become a dating show?
I don't know.
So Wilson Valley, aka Chris Rogers.
Yes.
So now that we talked about what sweet madness means to you, what is a particular sweet madness story that you have? It could have to deal with the balancing art and life, but
Well, I mean, I think a lot of what I do kind of comes down to that word of balance. And just to give some context where the name Wilson Valley comes from. So again, my name is Chris Rogers, but the reason why I go by the name Wilson Valley when I perform and make music and stuff, I was 17 years old. I was in a nearly fatal car wreck. It was pretty gnarly. And that car wreck happened on the intersection of Wilson Street and South Cherry Valley Avenue in West Hempstead, hence Wilson Valley. So the reason why this means so much to me, I won't say the reason, but a big resounding reason why this matters the way it does is because beyond the fact that of like, you know, I like to sing and I like to perform and music's the best, but it's my expression of the fact that, not to be over the top, but it is what it is. On paper, like statistically, I should not be here. And, you know, people ask, like, you know, when you're pursuing a goal or trying to make something happen, what's your why?
Yeah.
Right? That's my why. It's to celebrate in that. And not only has it been like the medium in which I can best express, you know, my own thoughts and feelings and my own sort of mental health recovery journey and, you know, just being able to kind of like have that mode of expression for, you know, everything that makes me happy, everything that pisses me off, everything that makes me sad, everything in between. But it's become an opportunity to like compose a soundtrack to somebody else's recovery journey. Because if there's anything else that I've learned, it's the more personal something is, the more universal it actually is.
Yep.
The world's really not that big. And it's through this where I'm truly able to not just feel that, to be able to actually express that. So it's like the music is sort of like the hook to draw you into that particular message. If people come to the shows, if people dig the tunes, happy-go-lucky Merry Christmas. But really, that's the heart behind it. So that's why it matters so much to me, and that's really why it's a non-negotiable. Because like I said, man, if people, like I said, come to a concert and like dig the tunes, awesome. But really, I'm trying to write the soundtrack to a comeback. If not for myself, then truly for somebody who needs it. And that I sound. Can I curse? I can't curse, right?
Curse.
Okay. Not that this is too bad, but like all right, let me just say, like, let me word it this way. Sometimes, you know, when you're a creative person, you can think very kind of like grandiosely, which is not a word, but is that a word?
Grandiosely?
Grandiose, is that a word? Whatever. But the point is, like, you know,
It's now an adverb.
It's what? Adverb. There you go. Oh, hold on. Do you know what Schoolhouse Rock is?
Yes.
Lolly, 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 get your adverbs here. No?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Make it start. Sweet. But that's the passion behind it. So this is a very long-winded answer, but that's what Wilson Valley is, and that's what Wilson Valley means to me. And as far as the story goes, like, given where I've come from, Wilson Valley is sort of like, in a way, like a love letter to the Butterfly Effect, in just the sense of like, again, like on paper with what went down, shouldn't be here, right? And there's a show that I like to do where the main thing that I keep on bringing up, it's like, okay, I've been through ABC, but had it not been for that, I wouldn't be where I'm at here and today at XYZ. So there's a lot of, it's as my mother would say, choosing an attitude of gratitude. And yeah, right? It
I
works.
like that.
Me too. So that's, you know, the sweet madness. You know, that's what it is to me. But, you know, it's funny. This is me really kind of like going in unnecessarily. But like when you think of the word, let's do it. When you think of the word mad, right, it's like there's obviously the emotion anger.
Yep.
But like, you know, madness is also, you can think crazy.
Yep.
And I think one theme of the talk so far is like, you know, crazy is sort of a word we pin on someone when we don't understand them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
particularly, and I think it resonates for anybody who is like an active, creative person trying to, you know, make something happen with their work and with their art and with their passion. It's not the normal thing to do. It's not the, for all intents and purposes, the safe route. It's not the predictable thing. It is, in fact, the road less traveled. And yeah, and not everybody's going to get that. So we were talking about relationships a little bit earlier, but
Family.
you beat me to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the whole, you know, hey, have you considered a plan B type of talk?
Yep.
And kind of going back to the word balance, it's like, yes, you got to pay your bills, you got to pay your rents, you need to be a contributing member of society, but for anybody who says that, oh, like, you know, making a living in music, there's no money there. It needs to be taken out and beaten with a shovel. Because, one, it's not true. It's so not true. There are so many ways to generate income, to, you know, get your name out there as a creative person, a lot of which you need to hustle for, but to like count it out as impossible or just like this peak, you're counting yourself out, you're stepping off the track before the race begins. It pisses me off. I mean,
And then people, you know, they love hearing those success stories of famous actors, famous musicians, famous authors and writers, and it's like they had to do all that we, the hustlers, are doing. You know, maybe some of it is luck, but a lot of it is the effort and, like you said, the planning.
preparation, planning.
Preparation to go in that goes into it. Yeah, absolutely. You didn't curse.
I tried to find it a different way. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be G-rated.
That's okay. Awesome. So what has there been any like experiences recently where you've caught yourself in like a art life balance battle in your brain? Because I know I have.
Art life balance battle.
Yeah. That's how I say, are you talking to yourself with your left brain and right brain?
Yeah.
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 That's the writer in me.
A couple examples come to mind. I think the relationship aspect kind of resonates the most. I mean, to your point earlier of like, you know, even with just, you know, friends and colleagues, it's like, hey, let's hang out. It's like our version of that could be like, hey, like, you know, come to my show or come to my gig, because that's like,
you see them.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, so I resonate with that, you know?
Yeah.
But of course, you know, there are the thoughts of like, you know, when, you know, different voices in the mind start having a conversation, there's all the chitter chatter of like, did I make the right decision with my life? you know, did I make the right call here? You know, is this worth it? Is this going anywhere? You know, should I have listened to insert naysayer here? And yeah, for sure. I mean, like having, you know, a thought pattern like that, I think is really, really common and understandable. And for anybody who's going through that right now. I certainly empathize and sympathize. I'd be curious to hear, if you have any, because I know from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, like that seems to be like a topic that's like, it at least comes up often in the way you express yourself with your words in your work. Like there's a passion behind it. There's like a boldness behind it. There's sometimes a brashness behind it. And I think it's really cool.
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, like as somebody who definitely sort of can find themselves in that thought pattern of like, I am wasting my time. I made the wrong call. Let me go back a couple years and maybe, pursue this safer path or what have you. That definitely is a thought of mine from time to time. Now, what I come back to is that Wilson Valley story, that why, right?
Yes.
That's the thing that fuels me through. But like, if you,
I have
need
a
that extra
why.
fuel. Yeah. What's your why?
I have a why too. So I felt very alone as a kid. I felt very alone as a teenager, even though like I was involved in theater. I found my community through doing the musicals, and my senior year show really was like a family, and I was mom. I was, thank you guys for the award of Wise and All-Knowing Yoda. I take it to heart still. I should frame that paper bag.
Will belt my face off, I will.
Yeah, I was very alone, and I hated the way that I felt, but I also had a very big heart, and I was very awkward. I was very like afraid to talk to anyone new. Now, of course, I know where that stems from. When I was in it, I didn't necessarily know. So I was very timid. I was very much the girl who never went to parties. I didn't have my first drink until I was like 20, but like 4 months before I turned 21.
You little rebel.
I was very much a goody two-shoes, and then I wasn't.
The contrast was stark.
It was a little bit because I was like fed up with feeling like I couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I finally learned, I was like, no, you know what? I need to do something. And how I let my feelings out is through my pen to my paper. I've been writing poetry since I was very young, and it's always kind of been there. I've gone away from it. I've come back to it. I tried rhyming like Shel Silverstein when I was a kid. Didn't work. And then I was reintroduced to it in college, and I really, really resonated
with poetry in particular.
With poetry in particular.
Yeah.
One of my poetry professors actually came up to me after a final, and he was like, what you wrote for the creative extra credit got you like double the points. Like it was truly really good with what you included in there. And I was like, holy crap. Oh my God, thank you. And like he's an actual poet. So it's like, what do I do with this? And so my why, and also I grew up, I'm not a skinny person. I was always overweight. That's why Hairspray resonates with me so much, because Tracy I identified with completely. I was always the fat girl in dance class. I was the biggest one, but I was a damn good dancer. I haven't done it for a couple years due to other things, but like really done it for myself, and I started to get back into it, which is great. And it's like the spark in my brain clicked off, and it's like the why is to make people feel less alone, because I felt less alone, and all I wanted was to read something or have someone give me extra credit on a final and say, I see what you're doing and I enjoy it, and thank you. I want to hold people's hands. And at the core, that's my why, and at the core, that's what I'm about. I just have a weird way of showing it because of my own anxiety and my own, past patterns. So it comes out most truly through the paper.
Yeah.
Through writing.
Well, don't count yourself out. I mean, like, I think you are you wield the pen like a sword. I think you're a really good writer for sure.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, like you rock. Like you're an awesome person as it is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. See, it's weird for me to take compliments. See,
All right, let's try again. Ready?
I said I'm trying not to say thank you and then give another
explanation.
2 cents. Yes, because I've been
Yeah.
over explaining myself for years. For
Okay, ready?
obvious reasons. Okay.
Let's lock in. Ready, Amanda?
Yes.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. We did it.
Done.
When
Perfect.
did this come about me? Where this is about you?
Sorry.
Can you give us a little
No.
bit? Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
No. Can you give us a little bit of a description on how your music sounds? Your Wilson Valley music?
If Ed Sheeran and Linkin Park had a musical baby, and that musical baby looked like Justin Timberlake if he were allergic to push-ups. That tracks, right? Anyway, but no, it's it's funny because like, okay, so to give even more context, so
Yes.
I was putting out music under my own name, Chris Rogers, and I put out this EP of music called Mr. Scatterbrain.
That's how I live my life.
There you go. It was a lot of fun to make, and at the time I was like still learning how to like write a song and how to arrange and produce and all that stuff. And the plan was, all right, we're gonna put this album out, and I'm gonna play shows, and I'm gonna network. It's gonna be great. And that record was released on January 1st, 2020.
I knew it was coming.
Plans changed. So
Damn.
I really,
That was the curse.
That was the curse. I really needed to, legitimately go back to the drawing board and really included the whole name change because the whole attitude behind the music was different. And a lot of the stuff that was written for this album, Exhale, was written during the height of the pandemic where everything was strange, everything was weird, everything was scary, and everything was just who could I trust, and everything was just wild, right? And here I was just trying to like process my own junk, and it just so happened to, come out in, or manifest in, the skin of these songs. And at least I can sort of tell, comparing this album Exhale versus that Mr. Scatterbrain stuff, the sound is much more concise because the mindset is much more focused. The why is much more concrete. So for anybody who happens to be fans of, like jokes aside, like if you're into sort of like, like Linkin Park or some of the more singer-songwritery stuff, like maybe Jason Mraz, Ed Sheeran, there might be something for you in there. But yeah, like I'm very proud of it. I'm really happy with how it's. Thank you. I'm really happy with how it's turned out and what it's doing and everything. But
Chris, you rock.
Amanda, thank you. We're getting good at this.
We are.
We're getting all right.
Yeah, we are. Well, that is awesome.
Sweet.
Unfortunately, we are out of time. It's so sad. It's so sad, guys.
Yeah.
But you really should listen to Exhale by Wilson Valley, a.k.a. Chris Rogers. And where can they find your album, your EP?
Yeah, they can find it anywhere where music is streamed. So Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, all the typical sources. I'm on Instagram at Wilson Valley Official, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube as well. And new music come the end of this year, 2025. I'm very excited about it. And one last thing, I put, public speaker in the description there because that truly is kind of where I see this Wilson Valley project sort of growing into. Because I'll play a show on a bar or a venue or something, and it's always a good time. But as far as truly what's been able to get the message across the most was really speaking to people directly. One last little thing here. I had this awesome opportunity in this church in Mineola to kind of do a half concert, half TED Talk. It was really, really cool. And I wrote a bunch of new material that was specifically catered to this particular audience, where I was really able to kind of like express artistically these same exact messages, like what's your why, like talking about that balance aspect and just, you know, talking to different parts of yourself in the name of compassion rather than suppression. And I really feel like this is where this project wants to go. So all of that is to say, if you're interested in, you know, hopping on the, you know, the journey, I'm very excited where this is going to go. And if you dig the tunes, awesome. But if there's anything that, you know, you pull away from what I do, or even with this discussion, it's that it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. You're not alone. And one quote that always sticks with me is that the more personal something is, the more universal something is. So your story, we call it a story because it's meant to be told. And share it, speak it, get it out, because people are longing for a sense of authenticity, and it's okay. You know, there is a community that exists, and I hope that the Wilson Valley community can provide that sense of solace, understanding, and openness that you're looking for. And it's a good time, so come on down.
It is fun. It's really good. You guys really should check him out. Wilson Valley, thank you so much.
Like my body or like my music?
Why not both?
Why? All right.
Why not both? So yes, if you liked this episode and you have some comments, or, you know, just want to reach out and, you know, ask any questions or anything like that, comment, like, subscribe. This is how we grow here. We're all about growth here at the Sweet Madness Podcast and myself. And also, if you guys have something that you're not quite sure how to express, you can get your own personalized poem and tell me the story via my website, www.amandamontoni.com. You'll see a tab that says get your free personalized poem. It is free. It doesn't cost anything. This is part of my why. I want to be a hand for you guys to hold, and I'll write you a poem about whatever's going on. Don't worry. It stays in my possession. Your story stays safe with me. I don't show anybody it. These are poems that I do not submit to anything, any kind of publishing thing. These are strictly yours. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.
Amanda, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's grab those sweet nuggets. Bye, guys.